Hey cupcakes, it's Stacys. Today we are drawing the Aries star sign for the Honey Seasons collection. And this is going to be a really fun one. I have always loved rams. I love just their big horns, and they're such a cute animal, and I love how they just hang out and eat grass and do cute ram things. So this has always been one of my favorite star signs, and I'm really excited to draw it today, especially because I think that the big ram style horns will be a great addition to the Honeys collection. So to start off, we are just doing our first layer of really rough line work to figure out our shapes and our basic design. I always like to do this just because it helps me understand what exactly I want to put on the drawing. So here we started off with the classic ram horns and some kind of straight bob-like hair. Initially, I was thinking maybe I would go with curly hair, but I just landed on this. I don't know why. It felt like a really nice contrast to the big horns. And then I start working on her outfit here. So she's got a bit of a crop top, which I like to incorporate once in a while. We've got the fur-lined gloves just to give it that wilderness feel, and a high-waisted set of pants with a statement belt that has the ram on it as well. I decided to give her these big star earrings with a bit of a lines on them, which mimic the texture that's going to be on the horns, so that we could bring that texture down further into the drawing. And I like how the big earrings turned out because they look very bold, I think, on the drawing. One thing I want to do is start incorporating more just cute little fun things into drawings. I like to make things look a little, I don't know, cuter than they maybe would if they were more realistic. So on this piece, I decided to give her a band-aid on the nose, and then later on I throw on some other elements, which you'll see. At this point, I'm not really caring about how good the lines look or how messy the drawing is. I'm just trying to get down those basic design elements. So it's almost like a planning phase. That's how I would put it. At this stage, I decided that I wanted to give her a big hammer. It just felt like I wanted to put something in her hand, and initially I didn't know what would go well, but she gave off vibes of like a girl that would just be walking around kind of like confidently, kind of a little badass, ready to like beat you up if you told her off or something. So the hammer felt right. The big hammer felt right. And I used a little bit of a perspective box here just to figure out that shape and how it would fit back in space. I started drawing the hand here onto it, and she ends up with some really cute gloves by the end of this as well. I ended up moving in to design a little bit of an emblem on her hammer. Once I got that initial shape ready, I wanted to start adding more details and cute things just to give the drawing a little bit of life and flavor and make everything feel tied together. So she got her ram here on her hammer, and later on I end up making it a little bit more indented as well, and just putting some little cracks on it and things to give it a little bit of extra life. The rounded corners, the stuff like that. I also have been trying to work in a little bit more asymmetry to the designs. So I gave her a half smirk in this drawing, and then I felt like adding a bit of a big chunky turtleneck would be a good balance to her very revealing crop top and fur, because she looks like maybe she could get cold. So that's why I put that there. At this point, this is getting pretty close, and I am mostly ready to move on to my proper line layer. I wanted to give her a bit of a hip swagger here, like a sideways hip, an asymmetrical hip. So this is what you see me doing here. I tried using the liquify tool. I forgot what the tool was called for a second. I tried using the liquify tool, and then I just kind of ended up drawing a little bit more of a curve to her hip and having it come in on the other side. And then I decided to add a few more details. So here I am putting little bells with little stars on them, which I thought was so cute. I like to sometimes kind of think about what the character would be like when you're designing it. What would she actually just be like if you met her in real life? And I picture her walking up with her big hammer and these bells are ringing, and like that's how you know she's coming, which kind of would remind you of like a normal, I don't know, like a billy goat or something. I think that's different than a ram. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. In a moment, I will realize that I actually have my fingers on the hand, like pretty backwards, and I do flip them around. So that's coming in a second. Or maybe it's when I do this final line layer. But yeah, here I've just moved into the final line layer. So this is more about cleaning up those lines and making everything look uniform and professional. I decided to give her some beautiful hooded eyelids. I love hooded eyelids. I think they're so, so pretty. So I love to utilize those whenever it makes sense. And I'm just adding some shape to the hair here. Some extra little frills of hair or bangs to give it a little bit more movement outside of that base blocky shape. I just recorded a ton of I just had to stop and put a pause because I just recorded a ton of commentary for this video, but I realized I wasn't recording. I was actually just sitting in my living room talking to myself, which is really annoying, but that's okay. We'll just re-record it, and hopefully I will remember what I was trying to talk about. Yeah, let's see. What am I doing here? Looks like I'm just working on these star earrings, giving them that texture, giving them that three-dimensionality. One of the most important lessons I learned as an artist was to try to envision things in the 3D because they look quite different from if you are drawing in 2 dimensions. So what I'm talking about, the way that star sits on the ear, it has a little bit of thickness to it, which you can see. And that's indicated just by simply adding those extra lines around the edges, and then you can kind of think like how it's sitting in 3 dimensions. If you're ever not sure how to make something, fit into 3D, the best advice I can give you is just to draw a 3D cube the way that we all kind of learned to in like elementary school. Start with one box, draw your second box for the background, first one for the foreground, second one for the background, and then just connect the edges like I did just with the hammer in the first part of this video. And then you will be all set. Because you can draw your object inside that box and it will just help you know a little bit more where to go, especially if you're not strictly working with like, a hard perspective grid. You just want to get it done. That's a great quick hand way to do it. So here I am messing up this Band-Aid a couple times, so I just went back to my sketch layer and I drew a little bit of an indication for the bone of the nose so I could see how I wanted the Band-Aid to properly wrap around the bridge of the nose. And that ended up helping. After a couple tries, I was able to get the shape the way that I liked it and just add that thickness in like I was just talking about to the Band-Aid. And voila, that completed what we needed to do. This video will actually be in 2 parts. I'm trying out a new format again. So this version of the video is actually a screen recording. The previous video we did was a time lapse from Procreate. And the difference is, as you can see, this video, you can see, every line I'm drawing. You can see me zooming in and out. You can see my whole canvas, including like the layers or the colors I'm picking. Or the transparency, and in the time lapse you don't see those things, so it's a little bit cleaner. It stays zoomed out in one kind of uniform distance. It doesn't show you the whole canvas and all the surrounding buttons. It just gives you like a nice clean condensed version of the video. So I'd love to know which one that you like better. The time lapse is cool because it's really quick to export and I don't have to do very much editing at all. But I think it's, and it is a little bit cleaner in some ways, but I think also there are some downsides to it. I think it's kind of nice to see like the way the canvas moves and stuff. But one other kind of downside was that I couldn't speed the video up as much because, like when you see me zooming in and out quickly like that, it gets really annoying when it's like sped up, 5 times the speed. So I had to make the videos a little bit longer. So this one will be in 2 parts. The first one will be the line art, and then the second one will be the coloring. And we'll do a little tutorial on that technique that I was talking about in the last video, where you can get the perfect kind of shadow colors and highlight colors in your whole drawing every time. So that'll be fun. This is what I was talking about with the hand here. So I saw that I really had messed up the angle of the hand. The fingers wouldn't really be pointing that way. So I just quickly flipped them around, and then I end up adjusting them a little bit and just drawing the handle of the hammer so that I could figure out exactly how I wanted everything to fit, and gave her that little tea time pinky sticking up in the back there. But yeah, let me know which format of the video you liked better. Did you like the time lapse, which is the last video, or do you like the screen recording, which is this one? Yeah, here's me drawing in that handle. I couldn't get her, I wasn't too sure. I should have drawn the handle first, to be honest. I should draw the handle first and then wrap her fingers around it. But this pretty well worked well enough, I would say. It got the job done. So that was fine. That was fine. I don't have too much more to say about this part, so I'm going to stop the recording and put some music, and you'll hear my voice again when I have something useful to say. All right, we are getting close to the end of this video. As you can see, I'm just putting some finishing touches on the drawing, adding those cute little face stickers and just some extra little details. We put the bandage on the horn and the star cut onto the jeans. So definitely don't overlook those little details while you're getting caught up in the technical aspects of drawing, because those little details are what make your drawing so fun and unique and special. I definitely, as an artist, got my head too stuck into like learning technical skills, and at one point, you know, really let my creative side go. So always keep that. That's what I would go back and change if I could redo like art school and all that stuff. Is I would really pay attention to that creative side, that side who had an idea that they couldn't execute. I was really worried about figuring out how to execute those ideas, and not as worried as nurturing the creative ideas. And the creative ideas are such an important part. So never let go of that. And that's my final message for today that I'll leave you with. In the next video, we will be coloring in this bad girl, and we will show you that cool technique that I told you about, which I learned from a very skilled artist that came to speak at our school when I was in university. So that will be super fun. But until then, I will see you cupcakes next time. Don't forget to tell me what you thought of this video, how the format was. Like and subscribe if you had a good time. And as always, I will see you cupcakes later.